has to be present tense. And beyond that, the first astral planes, as I said, they're heavily populated. It's like a gigantic mall with millions of people rushing around doing this and that. And you walk along a couple of 100 yards of mall, and then it breaks into a park, and then you find a piece of New York there, and there's a lake and an ocean, and then there's a bit of China there. And it's a higgledy-piggledy area where it's like bits and pieces of the world have been... it's like going through a lot of magazines and cutting out lots of pictures and then mixing them up at random and sticking them to your wall. That's what the lower astral dimensions are like. They're not bad places. They're just fairly meaningless places. People are going around, they're shopping, they're sightseeing, they're... A lot of people, you'll look around and see they're standing there asleep because they've come out of body and maybe their physical body is too active, their dream mind is too active, because you're sharing the same resource of consciousness, and if you've got two or three of you active at one time, if you are focused strongly in one of these aspects, let's say your dream mind is having a powerful experience, then that drains all the energy from your astral projected double, and it will tend to fall asleep. If your astral projected double is having an interesting experience, that will tend to drain your dream mind. And in a case where these are both active, you'll find if you wake up in your physical body, you may find that you are paralyzed and unable to move for a short time before you reintegrate. That's quite a common phenomenon.
Do you want to talk about the silver cord?
The silver cord, excuse me. The silver cord, there's been a lot of debate over that. You'll find some authors and teachers in the spiritual field say it doesn't exist. It's fantasy. Other people say it does. Traditionally, they say it does. Metaphysically, if you go into the realms of magic and that, you'll find there are several cords, the silver cord just being one of them. I think there's a cord coming from each of the chakras. And when you have an astral projection or even lucid dream, you'll find a cord coming from each of your major chakras, your major energy centers, is connected to that in some way. Now, I first observed the silver cord when I was about 5 years old. I saw it many times when I was a child. And I'd read nothing, had zero exposure. We didn't even have television. About the nearest I'd been to any fantasy was Bambi or Batman as a child. So that was something quite new. Now, I observed that many times, and usually seen as coming from the navel area. It's a sparkling, silvery cord. It looks to be about as thick as your thumb. And it looks like it's made of static. You know, like the static on a TV? When it's tuned off station, that sparkly sort of movement sort of thing going on there. A sparkling cord. And now, some people today say if you see that, it's just a bias, it's a hallucination because you're expecting to see it. But apart from my own observations as a child, I've had lots of people and children bring that out of the thousands of case histories I've dealt with over the years. I've had many, many people come to me and made original observations. They had no idea what this was. And some people had just gone on the internet and had put some random search words in. They put in silver cord because they'd seen a silver cord coming from their body or something. And they put in some descriptive words and come up with my website and eventually got hold of me by email or something. And so I've seen enough people come to me completely cold or fresh with no bias there to know that I think that this, you will sometimes see this. If you don't know about it or you don't deliberately look for it, you will occasionally notice it. If you deliberately look for it, you will usually see it, particularly if you're in the astral planes. You won't see it so much in the real-time zone. It's not so noticeable there, although there is always something energetically connecting you to your physical body. Keeping in mind, your physical body, when you have an astral projection, is never ever left empty. You do not leave. The old way of thinking, until I published my book, Astral Dynamics, was that when you have an astral projection, your physical body was left empty, an empty shell or husk. And that's a very disturbing thought. And you start thinking, well, what if I'm out of my body? What if something came along and stole my body, or possessed me, or took control of my body? Well, I could be locked out. It could be dangerous. What if I can't find my way back? What if I can't get back into my body? All of these questions arise. But my work has shown very, very clearly that when you have an astral projection, your mind splits. I call it the mind split effect. At the exact moment of separation, as your astral body begins to separate from your physical body. And what happens then is your energy body generates a copy of you, an energetic copy of you and your mind and your memories. And this copy is like the RAM in a computer, is generated and then separated. Now, the moment it separates, and some people will hear a very distinct click at the moment of separation, and various other phenomena. But that is generated, and it behaves like the RAM in a computer. It will travel around energetically, and it is thinking and experiencing independently. And it perceives itself to be you. I mean, you perceive yourself to be you. But you could also still be awake, meditating, and this often happens during meditation. You're meditating there, and you're still thinking and experiencing and carrying on with your meditation while you have an astral projection in progress. So you don't actually leave your physical body, but you get an energetic copy of you leaves the body. Now, if something were to happen to that, let's say from something I can't imagine, severed your silver cord or destroyed your astral body, you would go on as normal. You haven't lost anything. You've lost the memory of what happened while that aspect of you, that energy, is out of body. But you would recover completely. You might be a little bit low on energy for a couple of days, maybe a little bit tired. But your physical body would recover its substance that it lost, its energy, fairly quickly, and life would go on, and you wouldn't know anything about it. But that is theoretical. I've never known that to happen. I've never had that happen to me that I know of. And if it ever did happen, theoretically, you would never know about it. You would not know this. Interesting. In meditation, and often in led meditations in groups, if you ask people the right questions, you'll find, if you know the signs to look for, that quite a number, sometimes all of the people in that meditation group, experience an astral projection exit during the meditation that they're not aware of. The typical symptoms are, and most people that meditate regularly will have had this happen to them without knowing what it is. You're in the middle of a meditation and you feel this tingling, exciting energy rapidly, in a split second, comes up your legs and up through your back and spine. And you feel this tingling surge of energy, and you'll think to yourself, oh, something's happening. And then it stops. And you go on your meditation thinking, oh, I wonder what that was. A few minutes later, a few minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes later, you will feel another tingling surge of energy, rapidly coming up your legs in a split second and up again through your back. And you think, oh, something's happening again. And it feels like just an energy tingle, a bit like adrenaline or excitement. But it's quite a noticeable tingling visual sensation in the body. And what has actually happened here is the first time you felt that tingling rush up through your body, you had an astral projection exit. The second time you had this tingling rush come through your body, that was the astral projection re-entry and reintegration. Now, this happens with a failed memory download, so you don't get the memory of the astral projection, because regardless of what it was doing and how interesting it was, You are still awake. You are doing your meditation. You may be following a voice.